Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to be doing a bagel tutorial. Here's some different bagels. We have poppy seed, everything, garlic, a plain bagel with cream cheese, and a regular plain bagel. Then here at the very left-hand corner of the bottom screen, you'll see a blueberry bagel. You see how it's toasted on the outside, but it still remains a little bit blue. And then we have one that is cut open without cream cheese, so you can see the little blueberries. And we also have strawberry that's done the same way. And then we have some that is the blue color. I just wanted to show you that you could do bagels in collections. Now, this is mostly about the technique of making the bagel shape itself, because the toppings are not hard. So basically, this is a ball of conditioned ecru from Primo. It's 5/8 of an inch. This is charm size. To shape it, I pinch in with the index finger and the thumb, and I roll it with the opposite hand. And it creates a soft indented shape in the top and the bottom. Then what I'm going to do to make my center is I try to find the center of our flattened circle, and I press straight down. Then I roll very gently. Then I take it out. I place it in the other side, and I roll very gently. So here you see that the hole has started. This is not how I keep the hole, though. I go along the inside where I rock it. If you want the hole bigger, you can also roll it along your hand to widen the hole itself. But to shape the inside of the hole, I go in a circular motion, widening the edge, and then I finish it by rolling my double-pointed needle. If you have a needle tool that's kind of long, you can do the same thing, but I roll it along the inside to shape the inside to give it smooth edges. And you could also do that in the back too, where you go along the edges, then you roll. So that's pretty much it. I'll do it one more time. So there we go. I'm going to put my hole in the center. This one I'm just going to focus on the top. You would do the same thing for donuts as well. These are kind of soft. Now I'm going to show you how I color them. In the very far back here we have a yellow ochre, a rust, and a brown color of pastel dust. The way that you make your dust is to take your blade and shave some off. I'm going to take a brush, and I put the yellow ochre everywhere. So after you do the top and the bottom, I'd switch to a slightly smaller brush and pick up a little bit of rust and ochre. This is not too dark. And I would paint along the top edges, the outer parts of the circle, just to try to give it a toasty, sort of a warm edge, like it's been baked. You could add a touch of brown or not, depending on how you like your bagels to look. But this gets it nice and warm and toasty. So that would be a plain bagel. if you want toppings, something that actually looks kind of nice is garlic powder and onion powder. The onion powder is very, very pale. The garlic powder is a little bit richer, and the onion powder will darken when you bake it in the oven, but it will smell like onion and garlic powder if you do use that. That I would use for the everything and then the salted. Then for the everything, I would use my nutmeg grinder and grind some white and some orange and top it with that. So here's the nutmeg grinder, and I just create a little bit of white, I'd create a little bit of orange for the topping, and then I'd use a little bit of the poppy seeds. The poppy seed is black craft sand, and that's what I'll show you. To attach any topping, I take TLS, I just dip my finger in, and I very, very softly go along just the top edge, making sure that I don't leave any globs. You just want it a little bit sticky. And then for any topping, I would take a pinch and drizzle it on. So I would drizzle it on, and those would be your poppy seeds. So that would be a nice poppy seed bagel. And another alternative to everything would be a natural colored craft sand. So those are the basic toppings. Now for cream cheese, I slice my bagels in half. Now I just made this one just for the tutorial, and it's pretty soft, so it's probably going to squish down a lot. You want to either put it in the refrigerator or let it sit an hour or two before you chop it, but I turn them on end and I cut down. And as you can see, that squished quite a bit. You can reshape it a bit to get it round again. If you cut it once it's hardened a bit, you won't have any problem with that. For texturing, it's not critical since you're putting cream cheese on, but if you wanted it textured at the edges, you could use a toothbrush just so it gets a little bit of that breaded feel around the edges. That's enough if you're doing a plain bagel. Here is my plain bagel with cream cheese. Now, if you were wanting to put the cream cheese on, this is TLS, and I pinched some white Primo clay in, and I stir until it's nice and thick. Then I take a toothpick and take some of this nice thick cream cheese mixture off. This is the same thing as frosting, and I figured that most of you have probably seen me make frosting. So I didn't want to show you that whole process because it takes a little while. And then I paint the cream cheese on. From here I would bake them if they're done. Now I'm going to show you the breaded texture on the inside of my blueberry bagel here. The way that I texture that is like the way that I texture cake. I take a safety pin and I go in tiny itty bitty circles, and I overlap the circles, and I just continue along. Now the key to getting the inside of your bagels realistic, if you wanted them halved and then you start doing this kind of texture, is by making sure there's a good amount of translucent in the mix. So that's basically how I do that texture, although I will end it with a little bit of the toothbrush. If you want some of those wider holes that sometimes bagels will have, you can create that with the needle, where you go in and make larger circles, as you can see there. You don't want them to be completely circle in most cases, but that would be basically where those little air pockets are trapped in regular bagels. What I did for my blueberry one is I took a little bit of lavender, about maybe a third lavender to 3/4 translucent polymer clay, and I added purple craft stand for the little tiny bits of blueberry. And then after texturing it, I took a really dark purple, and to create those little dark parts, I would go in and, like with the confetti cake, how I would remove a tiny portion of the clay, I would do that and then press it into the actual bagel itself to create that. So the strawberry was Dusty Rose Sculpey 3. It was the Dusty Rose Sculpey with a lot of translucent Primo, and then I added a little bit of like a coral colored sand. So that's it. These are all charm size. These are definitely trying to give more of the impression rather than being completely 100% realistic. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. If you want to color your food coloring, you can always use whatever solid color clay, like if you wanted a nice pretty strawberry cream cheese frosting to put on a regular bagel instead of doing the bagel colored itself, you could take the Dusty Rose, mix it with, you could take the Dusty Rose and mix it with the TLS instead of the white to get colored cream cheese. The cream cheese, once it's thick enough with white, if you wanted to add color without starting a whole new frosting, you can take the powdered food colorings and mix it with the powdered food colorings. So that's several bagels. So here we go. These are the most common ones you see at the store. And then here's that blueberry. I just thought the breaded ones looked kind of neat. When I was looking up bagel images, they popped up at me. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some good use out of this. I will be putting up a written tutorial that I wrote for this a long time ago. And I believe that actually has the directions for 12th scale bagels, which is actually the size that I have on my fingernail as well. I will probably be doing the 12th scale size too, showing how I shape those. It's the same thing though. And the size of the ball you make for the 12th scale should be in the written instructions that will be in the directions below. Thank you so much.